It's the Chris Salcedo Show. Happy Tuesday, one and all, folks. We've got a lot to talk about in the second hour as it begins. Your daily excursion into critical thinking here on the Chris Salcedo Show. I am your liberty-loving Latino. Do not confuse me with loudmouth leftist Latinos out there. I actually love my country, the United States of America. Love my state, the United States of America and the great state of Texas. Joe DiGenova and Victoria Toensing, folks, are joining us right now. Joe DiGenova, of course, he's a former United States attorney for Washington, D.C., and Victoria Toensing is the former chief counsel for the Senate Intelligence Committee. Welcome to you both. Hey, guys.
Great. Happy Easter.
Good to see you.
And happy Easter, and it's great to see you as well. Let's dig into a legal question right off the bat that I brought up with the audience. This is President Trump speaking on this leaker inside of the White House that put not only the life of the downed airman in Iran who has been rescued, put his life in danger, but also the lives of the rescuers and national security at risk. Listen.
But these two extraordinary rescues, because it was two, and as you probably know, we didn't talk about the first one for an hour. Then somebody leaked something, which we'll hopefully find that leaker. We're looking very hard to find that leaker. And talked about there's somebody missing. They basically said that we have one and there's somebody missing. Well, they didn't know there was somebody missing until this leaker gave the information. So whoever it was, we think we'll be able to find it out because we're going to go to the media company that released it and we're going to say, national security, give it up or go to jail.
Okay, so Victoria, it's one thing in my mind, just common sense says it's one thing to print the truth, the facts as you know them. It's another thing to imperil the lives of other people, knowingly imperil the lives of other people, not only the airman, but those who would rescue him and do the bidding of a foreign enemy state, which is the number one state sponsor of terrorism, Iran. Is the president on solid legal ground by threatening a journalist with jail time if they don't give up their source?
He's on very solid legal ground, but he's on very solid political ground because it's one thing when a whistleblower comes in and exposes government wrongdoing. That's that's a problem about us putting that before a judge or a jury. But to endanger the life of a serviceman who's out there struggling, hiding from the enemy, oh no, that's good politics too.
Well, here's the big thing. In the Pentagon Papers case, where the Supreme Court ruled that you could not stop the publication of the Pentagon Papers under the First Amendment, the Supreme Court also said in that ruling, we may not be able to stop you from publishing it, but if you do, you will be liable to criminal prosecution under standard criminal statutes. Those are different questions. And so the person who leaked can be prosecuted and the newspapers that published it can be prosecuted because newspapers are supposed to be smart. They're supposed to know that when they get information that's classified, it could very well hurt the national security. So they're already seized of that knowledge. They know it's being leaked. They know it's classified. I would certainly impanel a grand jury and go after the newspaper.
Yeah, and you know what? And to be honest, if you get online and your actions are threatening to another person's life, you can be held criminally liable. I'm not sure. I mean, the freedom of the press is the freedom to print. Yes, nobody's going to stop you from doing that, but you will be held responsible if you do something that is illegal and by your printing. So let's see where this goes. Meantime, guys. Since the last time you and I spoke, we have had a change of leadership at the Department of Justice. Pam Bondi is gone after 14 months. And I think this is fair to say, and Victoria's got thumbs up. Look, I think it's fair to say that she was in way over her head, that the job didn't entail as many appearances on the Karl Rove Never Trump network as she possibly could fit into a day. And I've got to say that it actually requires more work and more justice. Let's just give me your honest evaluation, Victoria, before I get into the nitty gritty with Joe about what was not done. But just give me your impression about her being out.
Well, let me just make an observation, Chris, and that is that being state attorney general does not translate to being the U.S. Attorney General.
No.
State law is very different from federal law. Federal law can be very complex. I've been in the Justice Department as Deputy Assistant AG. I had very complex terrorism cases, fraud cases, all kinds of cases under me, and conspiracy cases. That was not up Pam's alley. Up her alley was, as you say, appearing on Fox TV. So how could anyone make it so that Trump is on the defensive on the Epstein issue? I mean, that really takes talent.
Yeah. Well, Joe, let me ask you about, there's so many things that are outstanding. Crossfire hurricane, Arctic frost, nobody's been brought to justice for the illegal weaponization against Republicans by Democrats. What the January 6th Unselect Committee, they have been commanded to produce documents. They just simply refuse to produce those documents. They are required by law to preserve those documents. None of that has been taken into account. So she really did drop the ball on accountability, did she not?
Well, I think the president, it appears that the president thought so. This was listed in background briefings as one of the reasons that he asked that she step down or that he removed her. I think it's pretty obvious that there have been no indictments with regard to Arctic frost or Operation Round River, which was the grotesque effort by the FBI, the CIA, and the Department of Justice to frame people, including Rudy Giuliani and others, who went to Ukraine to represent people in the Ukrainian government who wanted to report shakedowns by the Biden family through the Burisma Corporation. So it's pretty obvious that all of that stuff needs to be looked into. We are told by published reports that there is a grand jury in Miami and in Fort Pierce, Florida, handling all these things, and that they, from what I've read in the paper, John Brennan has been subpoenaed. Now, the issue is, what are they doing? It's a grand jury. We don't know. We hope they're proceeding aggressively, and they certainly should be.
Victoria, will you do me a favor? By the way, Victoria Toensing and Joe DiGenova, Legal Eagles here on the Chris Salcedo Show, our guests right now. Expand on Round River, because you mentioned you were implicated in this illegal operation for the U.S. government to frame the political opponents of Beijing Biden and his criminal crime family. I believe criminal crime family. Tell people what Round River was all about.
Yeah, and I just found out about it just about a month ago from reporting from Just the News. And it's taken this long for the FBI to find it. Rudy Giuliani and I and several others, including Bob Livingston, former member of Congress from Louisiana, were out talking about corruption in Ukraine and exposing Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and the U.S. ambassador, Yovanovitch, who was just a terrible ambassador. And we were all saying that she should be fired. Well, guess what? This investigation targeted us and said that we were risks to security. We were security risks. And my electronic data, it was covertly accessed, with the government asking Google and Apple to tell anything in my electronic data that told why I wanted Yovanovitch fired, among other things. There were about 50 things, and that was just one of them. And these records should be declassified. As recently as 2 weeks ago, Pam Bondi was sending an assistant U.S. attorney into court, saying to the court that the 160 pages that gave the reasoning for me to be searched was classified. We are told that she's been sitting on the declassification.
Yeah, the basic problem was this. When Victoria and Rudy and others went over to represent people in the Ukraine to get their information to bring back to the United States and report to the Justice Department,
right?
The DOJ and the FBI created a task force. This was all done in secret, and to go after them and seek all of their data through FISA warrants and other means. And what happened was crimes were committed in obtaining those FISA warrants. And this was a pretextual investigation designed to find out what people knew about the Bidens so that the FBI and the DOJ could protect the Bidens from what they had been doing in Ukraine. So that's the nub of this. And by the way, the reason they just found out about this was that this was among all the files that were buried in a secret room inside the FBI. And this is how Kash Patel just found out about them. That's why it's taken so long.
Well, Victoria, you were a security risk, a security risk to Beijing, Biden, and his criminal family's financial security for their ill-gotten gains. You were a big risk. That is for sure. Let's talk about the FISA court, guys, because look, the FISA court has been lied to repeatedly. Lied to. It has been demonstrated the FBI, as a matter of course, lies to the FISA court, in particular when Democrat and leftists run the FBI. And the FISA court, which should take a very dim view of that, they seem to be, oh, you lied to us? You violated people's rights? Oh, no problem. We're cool with it. Don't do it again, Sonny. And then repeated offenses. The FISA court was set up for foreign observation, right? You had foreigners trying to hurt America, but it's been roping in so many Americans. I'm sorry, Victoria. I've got to question the use of the FISA court, usefulness of the FISA court as it pertains to American national security, because it seems to me it's just been weaponized as a political tool against leftists' political opponents. Am I wrong?
Well, Chris, I had FISA under me when I was chief counsel for Barry Goldwater on the Senate Intelligence Committee, and it was then new. And all the liberals were running around saying, well, this is terrible. You're going to go after the press with FISA. And then when I became Deputy Assistant Attorney General, I had FISA under me again because I had all the terrorism cases. So I'm very familiar with it. It's very important for the safety of our country. We have to find a way to fix it. I say that if any American is picked up on FISA or targeted like Carter Page was, that there should be an independent lawyer representing that American before the court and questioning what is happening. No American should have to be subjected to the FISA court without some kind of representation.
Well, there's been a complete breakdown in accountability of that court.
Yeah, and Joe, with the judges, with all the problems we're having with judges, with left-wing appointees, just basically working to subvert the Constitution and this country. The idea that, because remember, this rotation of judges, it seems to have been rigged to have only leftists sitting on that FISA court to go after Trump. It's what it appeared to be on the surface. Am I wrong?
No, absolutely, because things were done to lie to the court. As you know, that's what Kevin Kleinsmith was convicted of, the DOJ lawyer who lied to the court. Remember, he said that Carter Page was not a CIA asset, when in fact Carter Page was a CIA asset. Now, Judge Collier, who was the chief judge at that time, got a hold of all this finally, and she wrote a rip-roaring opinion which demanded that people be held accountable and that the Congress do it. The court can't hold people accountable. I'm not sure that they even have contempt authority in the FISA court. But here's the thing. Everybody knows what happened in FISA. The 702 section was used to spy on Americans. It's completely out of control. It needs to be amended. And I do not favor the reauthorization of FISA until there are reforms put in to protect Americans. And Victoria's idea of having an ombudsman lawyer for any American who is incidentally picked up needs to be adopted. That is the minimum that needs to be done. And if they can't do that, then the president has the inherent authority to wiretap for national security reasons. He doesn't need FISA. FISA was a way to limit the president. So if everybody says this is such a big deal, the president has the inherent authority to wiretap.
Anna Paulina Luna, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, guys, has said she will hold up FISA because, boy, our government just loves it.
Yep.
They love the ability to spy on Americans. That she'll hold it up if the Senate doesn't pass the Save America Act. She won't allow it to reauthorize.
Good for her.
Yeah. Well, let's see where it goes. Victoria, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, that I think it's important to note. We were talking about the liberal judges. Judge Boasberg got Kevin Kleinsmith's
Yes.
before him.
Yes.
Guess what he said? Just exactly as you described it. Oh, that's too bad. You have probation. And he's got his law license back. The guy that was the FBI counsel that lied to the FISA court to harass Carter Page. And we know Carter well.
Well, you know what? You and I, you both know, as I do, that the only reason why we don't have a judiciary that's held in check is because of the do-nothing Congress. It is their job to hold the judiciary in check. They will not do that vital check, and we Americans become victims. On top of that, ombudsman, I would recommend, if the Congress can ever get up off its lazy butt and do something for us, that they also have you get caught lying to a FISA judge, it's mandatory. You take the decision out of Boasberg's hands. It's a mandatory 5-year prison sentence for the FBI agent, for the individual who materially misrepresented to the FISA court. There's no discussion. There's no tempering it. Automatic 5 years in jail and a loss of all government status. That's the least that should happen.
Well, here's the thing. The Chief Justice gave a speech the other day complaining about the criticisms of judges being around the country, and that they needed to take steps to protect themselves. I have a suggestion to the Chief Justice. Instead of giving that speech, he should give a speech to all of the federal judges in the country and tell them to stop pontificating from the bench on matters which are not in front of them. Stop making political statements in your judicial decisions.
Amen.
That includes Boasberg and Chutkin and everybody else.
And it's John Roberts who chooses the FISA judges.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is nonsensical, and Congress needs to be more critical of the judiciary.
Yes, Inspector Clouseau, folks. That's what we call the Chief Justice. He couldn't find the leaker of the Dobbs decision. From a very small universe of people, we know he found them. He just didn't want to harm the reputations of leftists who allowed that decision to leak out. We're talking to Joe DiGenova and Victoria Toensing, folks, here. The Legal Eagles, part of our stable here at the Chris Salcedo Show. Guys, Trump nominees are being held up right now as the Senate is on another unearned vacation by something called a pro forma session of Congress. And many of these nominees would be in charge of going after Democrats who weaponized government against our people illegally, would be in charge of prosecuting Democrats. And John Thune is saying we've got to protect those Democrats because everybody knows that when you break the law, if you're a Democrat, you get away with it. This is what I believe, Victoria, is the problem with all of these Republicans who seem to only enforce the rules when it comes to thwarting their own party. I mean, if you look back, Bush had 170 some odd recess appointments. Clinton had 132. Even Obama had 32. Many of them are unconstitutional, but he had 32 recess appointments, and Trump has 0. It's criminal, is it not?
Yes, because John Thune is a weak leader, and we know that, and we've complained about him, and I don't know what to do. I would think that some of the people in the Republican caucus in the Senate, like a Mike Lee, Ron Johnson, that some of those who really do have some guts should go have a little come to Jesus, talk with him, and say, get going, guy, because this is ridiculous. I mean, the U.S. attorney in L.A. it has to be called the first assistant because he can't get confirmed.
I think the problem with Thune is, and all you have to do is watch him on television, he has no command presence. He's tall, dark, and uninformed. I mean, the bottom thing is he doesn't have that depth of feeling and emotion. He's not a good public speaker. Now, remember, this is a job that he can campaign for, to be majority leader. The problem is he's not a leader, and that's the problem. And he's as a result of that, President Trump has been harmed by his lack of. I just don't think he's a good majority leader. Well,
I think he is I think he is a fantastic majority leader for the Democrats. He does a great job for Democrats. I mean, Democrats should be sending him a fruit basket for Christmas if they actually believe in God over there on the other side. Joe DiGenova, former United States Attorney for Washington, D.C., and Victoria Toensing, former Chief Counsel for the Senate Intelligence Committee. It is always great to catch up with the both of you. Stay in touch, please.
We will.
Thank you.
All right. Telephone numbers 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. Lots to talk about in the legal realm, folks. So you're all caught up